brain. Welcome into his frequency. Enter at your own risk. Come be at peace with me. Ask the Paul, where we rise and don't fall.
Welcome back to another episode of Baxter's Buzz. I am your host, Baxter E. Hall. Welcome to my brain. Welcome to my frequency. Enter at your own risk. Today, I have a special guest, special guest. She is a career and mindset coach and a fractional CHRO, amongst many other things that we'll get into today. Kisha Hicks, welcome to Baxter's Buzz.
Woo! Thank you for having me. Listen, I've been
Yeah.
waiting for this conversation.
Man, look, we've communicated via LinkedIn. We had an initial kind of touch base, and then even before we start recording, like I feel like this is something we'll be probably doing more of. I'm trying to think. I can't remember when I first discovered you and your page on LinkedIn, but I feel like it's just been a part of like my routine. I see you. I see you connecting with people. I see your lives. Every other person that I know in the HR world, they know you. They've like literally like been part of programs that you've led, and I'm just really happy to be able to get to know you myself and learn a little bit from you.
Yeah, we people now.
Yeah, yeah. Let's just jump into it. We talked about a number of things when we connected, and you talked about living your life as a billboard.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
thought, you have a testimony and you are like, proud of like that the journey and like inviting everybody in with you, right? So talk about that and like how you got to that point. Have you always been like that?
I wish I could say I've always been like that, but you know what? Life has a for real way of making you who you're supposed to be. You know
Mm,
what I'm saying? And no, I haven't always been that way, but when I decided that I was going to answer the call and really say, you know what, I'm going to help other people for real, right? And specifically other people that look like me,
mm,
I had to open up my life, right? Like I had to be able to say, okay, here's my wounds. Here's all the good stuff about me. Here's the bull crap about me. You might see me cry on screen, like, like
yeah,
all of the things, right? Because what that does is that makes me real.
yeah, yeah.
Right. And my life is real. My career is real. My
Mm,
kids are real. Like I am
mm,
a real person. And so I think so many times when you're online, it's all the facades and filters, and people show you the end of the journey, right? Like they
mhm,
show you the destination, but they don't show you what it took to get there.
mhm,
And so I think that allows me to be the billboard, a true billboard, to say, yeah, look, this is for real the destination for some people, right? I mean, I'm still going, right?
right.
But I think it's like, but let me be the possibility model. Let me show you how, like, what it really takes,
Yeah,
what it's really going to take for you to get there. So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I talk about that a lot. And I call it just documenting like my time here.
Mhm.
I was one who was a little apprehensive about sharing a lot of things, as well. But these kids kind of do something to you when it comes to that, right? So it's like I want them to know that I was here, and I want them to say, "Oh, this is my dad." Like, yeah, like whatever opinion they put in before that, they're gonna say he did a lot. He was here, and we know about it. We know kind of what he did. I don't know if we talked about this when we connected before, but there's a picture of my mom.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and so I put it there for a number of reasons. So this was her in high school, and she passed away when I was 8, and so I don't have any. Like, I didn't have a lot of pictures of her. Didn't have
Mhm.
any pictures of her when she was young, and
Mhm.
a family member gave this to me at the end of 2018,
Mhm.
and I it was like a brand new gift. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, I got this piece of history from my mom that I never had. And it's like the opportunity we have with our phones, and we're taking so many pictures and we're doing so much and we're recording videos. It's like I want my kids to know kind of who I was. I want them to read things that I've written. I want them to like watch the podcast. I want them to
Yeah.
look at pictures and be like, okay, I have an idea of who he was.
Yeah.
And not just the highlight reel like you
Yeah.
talked about. You know,
Yeah.
I had I was up for a new group. I was under consideration. I did not get hired. I found out last week. I was very disappointed. And as soon as my daughter Zara came home from camp, I said, "Hey, baby, that deal I was waiting on, I didn't get it, you know." And I consider it a privilege to be able to share that. You know, we talked about I drew 3 circles in the on a piece of paper. I talked about the things that we can control, the things that are within our control, the things that we can influence, and then the things that are out of our control, right? And so I want her to know, okay, daddy's disappointed, but daddy's not down, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And when things like this come into her life, she'll be able to sort of hopefully, you know, harken back, right? And say, okay, things weren't always perfect for dad, but he worked through it and he kept going. And
Yeah.
so we got to make sure that we give him everything, right?
That's
Yeah,
right. That's
yeah,
right. I was telling a client, we're always it is inevitable that we're going to have valley seasons, right? Like it's inevitable. You keep living, you're going to have valley seasons. Like everything is not these grandiose mountaintop experiences. Like I'm dope, everything is working for me, right?
yeah,
Like sometimes you're gonna be down,
yeah,
but it's all about, to me, it's conditioning. It's like the conditioning for when it comes, because it's inevitable, it's gonna come.
mm-hmm.
And how long I take a residence in that spot, now that's up to me,
That's
right?
right. That's
But
right.
it's about like really being able to say, okay, I'm okay when I'm here, right? And so I love it. I love it, man. My
Yeah,
daughter, you promised, she's me, right? Like she'll
yeah.
pull up her laptop and be like, "Welcome to the morning mindset." I'm like, "Oh, girl, she gonna co-host with me one day." So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
They're watching things, and they're watching everything. They're watching more than they're listening.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
My
and
son
and,
is like that. Now
and we
that's too cool.
yeah, we don't have to be perfect. Not for them, not for anyone,
Nah,
because that those people that they don't connect. They don't connect with folks, and there's not much to learn from those folks, right?
yeah,
We were, I didn't even know how we got on the conversation. We were talking about just like imposter syndrome, and you talked about like sort of each time you sort of level up, right? You have to kind of face
yeah.
this thing again, right? Like how
Yeah.
did talk about your relationship with imposter syndrome, and like how you coach your people through it, and how you deal with it personally.
Yeah. One of my very best girlfriends says every round goes higher and higher. Right. Like she'll tell me, I'll be telling her something. She's like, "Girl, every round go higher and higher." I'm like, "Yes, it does."
Yeah,
Because it is true. Like every time you go up a level, and whether it be in your career, your personal life, whatever, it's like, here comes another challenge. It's like playing that favorite video game. You beat a level, you go up a level. It's like, dang, yes, some of the stuff that you were working with from them previous levels applies, but this is a whole nother situation at
yeah,
this point,
yeah,
right? And so it's very easy to slide into, dang, what am I doing here? Like maybe I should just go back to where I was because it was easier there,
mm,
because I don't really know if I'm supposed to be here, right? And I think about it in my own career, it's like every time I leveled up, right? When I went from like executive or HR director to VP, right? I was like, yo, I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know if your girl's supposed to be here or not. Like,
yeah,
and then you start looking around, and it's very easy to let somebody else's stuff become your own stuff, right? So
mm,
you like, well, dang, I don't have as much experience as they do, or I don't have this, or I didn't go to this school, right? So then it's like, man, am I really supposed to be here? Then if I'm sitting in a conference room or a boardroom and I'm looking around and nobody looks like me, there goes even more of, am I really supposed to be here? Right. Yeah. And then you start to like go into the spiral of questioning your own abilities, your own competencies, right? Your mere existence sometimes. Like, now I should just go back to where I was because it was comfortable. Yeah. And so one thing that I do with working with my clients is just like the valley moments. To me, imposter syndrome is just a part of the game, right? Like, yeah, people will say all the time, yeah, it's just a phrase, whatever. It's a real thing. Like, it's a real thing for a lot of people. And so my thing is, it's all about, to me, just conditioning. And so when I'm coaching the ladies in my programs, it's like, okay, how do we get you ready? We know that there's going to be this anxiety that may come from being in somewhere new. You're challenging yourself, you're stretching yourself, you're coming outside of your comfort zone. It's easy to want to say, you know what, I need to go back. But what do we put in place to make sure that you don't do that? Like, how do we fortify you? How do we pull your own receipts so that you know what you're working with when you go into this space? Yeah. And so that's a lot of it. But I don't think it ever quite goes away. I just think as it levels up, you level up too in your response to it. Yeah.
And I think one of the things that's helped me is, and again, it's the, bringing your whole self, the authenticity that has been such a popular term, although it's crazy, that it's like a new term in many ways, or the way we kind of look at it may be different the last several years. I've been most successful when the more of myself that I've displayed.
That's right.
And not, the good, bad, and everything else. So the more that I give of myself, like my true self, it's uncomfortable. You could, very vulnerable situations at times, but that's what's been the most rewarding. Mm-hmm. I know it's been the most successful. I've been the most successful on it. And I would venture to say I've been able to help more people in those spaces than previously. And so those are the things that I think about when I think about imposter syndrome. It's like, I'm not here to be like any of these other people. I'm here to sort of add my own, like stick my, flag in the ground and all that comes with it.
Yeah. I think that, and being able to really just like affirm yourself, validate yourself, right? That's why I say pull your receipts. Yeah. Because it's so easy to like look for somebody else to validate you. And if you don't feel that validation, it's very easy to slide into imposter syndrome. Yeah. But it's like, man, you give too much power to people. Them same people that can validate you and lift you up are also them same people who can tell you ain't about nothing. So it's like, why give all that why give one of my friends says, why give somebody a vote, that much of a vote?
Yeah. And you're weighting it more than you weight in your own opinion.
Yeah. Also. Yeah. It's like, no, you don't get a vote. Yeah. Like, I appreciate it, but the survey didn't come out. I didn't ask for your vote.
Yeah. Again, in the space that I'm in, we're consultants, but we're in sales. We're generating new business. Yeah. And, I just had a very similar conversation. A yes or no we can't have revisionist history. A no doesn't negate all the hard work I've done. Mm-hmm. Right? Just like a yes doesn't make everything better, although it feels like it sometimes. Yeah. We have to know who we are, and know that, the way that we go about our business, the inputs, the things that we can control, that needs to be our foundation, and not other people's opinions or decisions, or again, those things that we can't control, right?
Right.
Why did you sort of leave the corporate space and want to start your career coaching, your mindset coaching? Why was that something that resonated with you?
Yeah. Here's my thing. Like, I think sometimes people leave organizations most often because there's a value misalignment, right? Like, what's important to you may not necessarily be as important or important at all to that organization. And it wasn't necessarily a complete value misalignment, but it was like, yo, some of the things that are really important to me at this point in my career aren't as important there. They're there, but they're not as important. So then what that means is that I'm kind of like contorting myself to fit into an atmosphere that I really like don't feel like I really fit into. And it's like when I hit that point, it was like, okay, but what do you do? And I was doing both though at one point in time. I was doing my 9 to 5 and I was working my business. So that was the wrong thing for me to do, was to get a taste of, right? Like, what does it really look like for me to be in complete alignment with the business, me being the business, right? And like, oh, I can really do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so that's when I hit that intersection, it was like, okay, here we are. I can back up and act like it ain't here, or I can make a decision. And so, you know, red or blue pill. That was my right. It's like, choose.
So Kisha, where are you from?
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis, okay. So I'm from Detroit.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much you know about Detroit, but we have Coney Island restaurants everywhere. Right? People I know from the East Coast are like, really? Why? I'm like, that's hard to explain. But Coney Island's everywhere.
Yeah.
So going to the Coney today for lunch. And I see there's different franchise Coney. So the last few times I've been here, I've seen some ladies that work at another one about, let's just call it 10 minutes away. And I've seen them in there and I just haven't had the time. So today I asked the woman, what's up? Why y'all in here? I mean, I've seen these ladies for years at this other Coney. Yeah. And she said, oh, the Coney, it was a fire. And we're gonna be over here, I'm not sure for how long. And she said, I'm not feeling it here. She said, I'm not feeling it here. And I said, really? I said, hang in there. She said, nah, I think it's time. I think God's moving me out of here.
Yeah.
You know. And I said, really? She said, yeah. She said, my birthday's coming up. And once my birthday, I'm out of here. You know, and she said it to me. And I don't know if she recognized me or what, but she kind of, she said that to me. And I said, I wish you the best of luck. Whatever is next for you. And I think about sometimes how God literally has to like force our hand in order to provide that clarity for us. And she wasn't frustrated. She didn't seem like she was having a bad day. Yeah. But it was a piece that I saw today. Like, no, it's time. Yeah. It's time. What was that moment for you when you said, all right, it's time for me to make that jump?
Yeah, it's funny because when God deals with me, he makes me uncomfortable. Right? He makes things uncomfortable. Like, and it'd be like little annoyances. It's like getting pecked by ducks. It don't hurt, but it's just annoying. You know what I'm saying? And it'd be things like people saying my name wrong, you know, somebody parking in my parking space, somebody being super late to meetings all the time. You know, it was just like little stuff. And then it was all the other stuff, like unrealistic expectations of things. And I'm like, yo, and then you're trying to like make people understand that that's not really how something works. And then it's like, it's just that rub. And then it's getting frustrated because then I start thinking about my time. And I'm like, my time could be so better well spent doing this than this. But I'm like over here with this. And so it's just, for me, it's like he always makes me uncomfortable. And because he knows that if he doesn't make me uncomfortable, I'm Superwoman. Okay. I will do just give me the candle. We're gonna burn that both ends in the middle. Okay, we'll do all of it. But he's like, no, I need you just to do this. And until you make a decision, then I'm just gonna make you uncomfortable. And that's what happened. It was like, I literally legit was making more money in my business than I was on my job, but I was holding both down. Like, and through COVID, through furloughs, through this, through that, you know, all the things, daycare getting shut down, kids at the house, like all the things, right? And I'm like, okay, God, quit playing. Like, this what I'm doing. Yeah. And it was like I had to make a choice. And I jumped. And I was just like, okay. And probably much like that lady, it was the most peaceful jump. Right? Like, not to say that it's easy, because not every day. Some days I have to fire myself. Yeah, some days I'm like, I quit. I'm not working today. Like, I quit. I'll be back tomorrow. But you know, that's just what it is. And I'm good with it.
How do you coach your people when they're in that similar space?
As far as when they hit that crossroads and they make a decision, true story, sit down with God. Sit down, sit before him. Because that is when he, to me, and I run a very faith-based business, but I'm like, that's when he is trying to get my attention. So clearly everything else, all the little subtle hints wasn't getting my attention.
Yeah.
So at that point, that's when you got to sit down. That's when you got to like really sit down, sit before him and say, okay, what's the will for me? And then make it real clear what the steps are.
Yeah.
Like what you want me to do. Like, okay, cool. I get, this is what you want. This is the big picture.
Yeah.
But now how do you want me to walk this thing out?
Yeah. Yeah. Be
right.
still and
I mean,
let,
that's how I coach my clients. And I'm like, look, I'll ask them. I was on a call today and a young lady was telling me some things and she was going on. I said, okay, first question I asked her, what does God say about that? You know, like, what did God tell you about that? Because don't come to Kisha to validate it. What God say first? Like, so I need to know what he said, you know? So that's what I think. That's what I tell them.
Yeah. Like I said, I've had conversations, I've connected with folks that's been coached by you, that's been part of your programs. And there's a couple things that stand out to me, but I want you to add to it because I know it's so much more. One of it is just sort of the exposure part.
Yeah.
Like get out there, get out. As a matter of fact, it's like all coming back to me now. A couple of years ago now, somebody, they were like, I'm an introvert. I don't really, but like Kisha told me to go like meet new people. Like I'm reaching out to you because I was instructed to go and meet new people, right? So one thing has been the exposure, I would say, from the handful of people that I've met that's been part of your program who's had interaction with you. The other part is just the importance of like, I guess they're one and the same, but just broadening your network. That connection piece that we were talking about a little bit before we went online. Like, speak to that, and then some of the other types of principles that you try to emphasize when you're coaching and getting folks sort of out of their comfort zone.
Yeah. So exposure, yes, exposure and broaden your network are kind of run together, but in a way they're kind of different too. Because I think exposure sometimes can be something as easy as speaking up in a meeting. Right? So many times I find that people come in a meeting, you sit in your same chair, right? Or you sit in that same little spot, and the answer or the solution, but you don't speak up. It's almost like you want to be invisible. So exposure to me is about creating visibility for yourself. And sometimes that is, in speaking up in meetings, sometimes that's volunteering to sit on a committee. That's sometimes, just being present and letting your presence be known, not in some loud, boisterous, obnoxious way, but letting your presence be known. It is about like, if I have something to say, being able to create a post on LinkedIn and say, okay, this is what I have to say about it, right? So to me, that's exposure. But I think when you're talking about broadening your network, it's like really being intentional and thoughtful about who do I want to connect with? Everybody ain't for me, and I'm not for everybody. But if I'm thinking about future opportunities, if I'm thinking about people that are just dope humans to know, regardless if I could ever get anything from them or if I could, who is that? What would make my network this richer place that maybe I can plug somebody else in because of it, right? Yeah. It's like, how do I do that? And so it's like, I'm one of the ones, I'm an introvert for real. I think I'm more of an ambivert now. Like people wear me out. True story, be in HR, be live all the time, running groups. People wear me out. Like I lay on the floor out. Like most days, at the end of the day, I lay on the floor and just melt. Yeah. But it's not like, I don't own that as my identity.
Yeah.
Right. And I think so many times that people own that as their identity. And so that limits their ability to be able to network, or they're like, I don't know what to say, or people fear rejection or fear, people just, going to ignore them or whatever. And I just think that you just really have to put yourself out there. So one thing I do challenge the ladies in my programs, I challenge them to get out and meet new people. And I'll even tell them, like, look, tell them I sent you, right? Like, whatever. And if you want to meet somebody and you kind of shy, I'll swing through, I'll make the connection request and then come through and plug you, whatever it is, right? But it's about, I really want them to do that. I even invite them on my live show, right? To get them all the way about that comfort zone. Some of them, they'll be sweating some more stuff. I'm like, it's okay. Like, it's just a conversation between me and you that's seen around a bunch of people. But just talk to me, right? Because I think, here's what I think is most important when it comes to exposure and building a network. People have to know and get it deep in their spirits that your voice matters. You matter. Your opinions matter. Who you are matters. And the world is better because you are here. But if you don't ever expose it, if you don't ever show it, like, it's like they talk about, like we talk about in the Bible, like, like hiding your light. Like, don't hide it. Like, let your light be seen. It's okay. And it's going to be people who don't like what you have to say. Keep scrolling. Right? It's cool. I ain't for everybody. So yeah, totally.
Talk about just connection in general and why, like, the value that you place on, conversations like this and conversations that aren't necessarily being recorded, but it's true. Like, hey, let's just kick it, get to know each other, and see what we can kind of learn from one another. Why is that so important to you?
I think because community is important to me. Because truly, I believe that, we weren't meant to wander around by ourselves, right? Like, you just weren't. And people need to be, we hear about groupthink and all the things, but people need to be a part of something. And you can always tell, like, I see a lot of successful people. Most of the time when you see successful people, they're not by themselves.
That's right.
They got a personal board of directors. They got some, right? They got a crew they're running with.
That's right.
And in a world where things are very isolating, when there are places where you are maybe the only man, you're the only female, whatever it is. It's like you need community. Because community takes away that isolation. Community allows you to be included. And when we talk about being inclusive, it's like, I think workplaces should create communities, safe spaces where people can feel like I'm included in something. Because left up to your own demise, ain't no telling what you'll do. But if you have a community, it's like, I think we go further when we're in community. And so I think it's important to have, connections and have conversations like this ones we have offline, like, so that you can really start to build. Because I'm telling you, like, COVID really taught me that, right? Because before COVID, it was like, okay, I might, slide out to an in-person networking event. Don't really want nobody to really talk to me, but I'll talk to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you do? What do you do? I hate that question. I'm like, I'm an escort. Okay, like, buy me with a Groupon. You know what I'm saying? Like, I used to hate that question. Like, ask me who I am, not what I do. But no, but seriously, it's like when COVID hit, it was like, yo, people got to learn how to talk to each other. And you got to learn how to talk to each other absent knowing all the body language. And you can't, like, we here, we on screens, we on phones, we on whatever. And so it was like, it could either be super isolating, or you could, like, really take the opportunity to branch out. And I mean, that's what I did. I took the opportunity just, like, to grow my network like crazy. One of my very good friends, we say we're COVID best friends. We've never met in person, but you can't tell. Like, I call her right now, she'd be like, friend. So it's like, because that's just but that allowed me, to really broaden my network. And look, I'm talking to you because of
That's right. That's right. No, and I did the same thing. I did the same thing in the midst of all the uncertainty and the death and all the anxiety and the negative that came. For me, there were, it opened up my world, to some amazing people, I've had on the podcast, people I've connected with, collaborated with, never met in person, and across the country, right? One person we met, we had talked on the phone. We were at some point doing like weekly podcasts. I never met her. She's only
Mhm.
about 45 minutes up the road, and we met randomly at some event. And it's like, oh my gosh, it was like a long lost, family member,
Yeah.
and I'm so grateful for these connections that I've made, because it's people like you who are just out there with this genuine like energy and like this curiosity and this sort of thirst for like knowledge that makes me wanna shows me I'm not alone out here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I appreciate you and all the people that are out there connecting. I'm working on a presentation now for networking, not just for outside of your office, but inside your office too, because there's some of that we need to make sure that we're connecting to stakeholders and know who's who, and people know who we are. And it goes to that exposure piece that you mentioned earlier, right?
Mhm. 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 That's cool. That's dope.
Um, HR Path program.
Yes.
Talk about that. I know open enrollment is going on now, and you got a few spots there, but talk about that program in general, and tell me why that one is a bit different.
Yeah. So the HR Path program is my baby. The HR Path program I actually started in February of 2021. I've been able to serve probably close to 500 women through this program.
Mm.
It is a mastermind exclusive, I almost call it like the country club type program, because there is no click a link to buy it, right? I'm really, really, really honed in on and super intentional about who I bring in this program, because I want to create a safe environment for people. This program has gone through different iterations. At one point in time, it was a 3-month program. Now it's a 6-month program. But it is a program where I am really working on creating a holistic HR professional experience. And it's what makes it so unique and what makes it so special is it is designed for us by us, meaning that it is for Black women in mid to senior level HR roles. No tea, no shade towards anybody else. But in this particular program, that's who this is designed for. This is a place where we're not talking about job search strategies and all that. That's cool, that's cute, but you can Google some of that, or there's many other coaches that do that. But this is about how do I help you to really tap into all of those things that they don't teach you, like things like executive presence, assertive communication, really digging into emotional intelligence, but also putting a biblical spin on it so that you know, like, okay, cool, this is how I can do this in the workplace, right? And so man, it's a dope program. I keep it super small. I always say if I got more than one Zoom screen with the women, I don't want them because it becomes too much. But it is high touch. It's not one of them, here, watch some videos, go forth and be great. Nah, I'm in your business. I'm in your business for 6. I'm your person, right? Like you could DM me, text me, I'm your person.
Yeah.
And so it's really just providing that support, that community even more. So yeah, that's what the program is.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. How do people get in touch with you? Like, I know that, like, for this particular program, it's not necessarily like a link, but there are other programs that you have, and your morning mindset. Like, how do people get connected, or like learn more, or just want to follow you and
Yeah.
kind of, yeah.
Okay, so a couple ways. One, always hit up the website. The website is good now. So the website has information about this programs and ways to like start conversations with me, whether it be jump on calls, what have you. So website for sure, LinkedIn all day, right?
Yeah.
There's guaranteed to be some kind of content for me at least 3 times a week on LinkedIn,
Yeah. What's the website?
KishaHicks.com. Straight up. See, ain't even hard. It ain't even
Yeah.
hard. so we keep it easy. We keep it easy. But there's a link to the Morning Mindset. There's a link to the Morning Mindset store. There's a link to about there's a page on the services. It's all there. It's all in one place.
Morning mindset. So I just ordered my hoodie.
Yay! I was gonna rock my stuff. I was like, nah, I'm gonna wait. I'm wait. I'm
See,
wait.
I should have. Next time, I'll have it, and
Yes, and we
next
will
time.
rock it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Talk about the morning mindset, the site, the merch, and then talk about kind of what the proceeds.
Yeah. So the morning mindset actually started in COVID, and it started actually on Clubhouse, and it was a fluke. That's what I always say. It was an in-purpose accident. There you go. And it was one of those things where I have this morning routine. And I was like, man, it'd be dope to share this stuff. So I went into this room that was basically Black women in HR. And I was like, okay, let me show y'all what I do. And I hosted this room, and I end up hosting this room every day, Monday through Friday, for like 3 months solid.
Oh my goodness.
And it was called the Morning Mindset. And I was like, okay, this is dope. And then I got moved in my spirit to come out of Clubhouse. But I was like, okay, what am I gonna do now? And where does the space go? So I gave the space over to one of my good friends who turned it into this whole situation. And so it was good. And so she actually asked me to co-host one time, or step in, guest host for her. And I couldn't get Clubhouse to go live. Like, it was glitchy that day. I was like, this ain't nothing but God. So that's when you had to apply to go live on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got my approval. So I was like, bump it, let's go live. And that was the first time I went live. And in the morning mindset now, because of that, lives on LinkedIn. And so it is a weekly show that I do every Wednesday, because I'm like big about getting over the hump. And it is early in the morning because I want to get you before you then got into the throes of everything. But it's just one of those things where it's taking a concept and really helping you to get your mind right around the concept. And so that's what the morning mindset is. And so oftentimes at the end of the morning mindset, I'll do an invitation for people to join me in the programs that I have, because it's kind of like, if you think the morning mindset is dope, come on in the programs, because we go a little deeper with that. That's just scratching the surface. So that's what the morning mindset is.
Yeah. And the merchandise?
Yes. So as of maybe 3 weeks ago, one thing that I'm big about is figuring out ways to give back. And so I've been able to give back to different nonprofits, support little girl basketball teams, all the things. And I was like, that's dope. But I like to do more of that if I could. So I was like, what can I do? Merch. So I decided to open up a store, which is the Morning Mindset store. And there are hoodies, these good little notebook situations, mugs, all the things. And what we're doing is half of the proceeds allow me to actually be able to come back around the corner each month and write a check to certain nonprofits, just to kind of keep the work going. Those nonprofits specifically being geared towards helping women and young girls. And so I have one already in the pipeline for July. I'm like, I can't wait. And so what my intention is also with this is, as I cut the check, I'm going to actually bring those folks live on the Morning Mindset so they can talk about their organizations. I think it's so dope that what people are doing. And if people just get exposure, right? Like, get eyes on, because there's so many dope people doing dope stuff for the communities that goes unheard of, or like, you like, what? You doing what? And so I have the opportunity to like really get in front of some dope people. So it's my way to get back.
Yeah. Well, you are one of these dope people that you described. So thank you. She is a fractional CHRO, career and mindset coach, Kisha Hicks. Thank you for joining me today. This is really good.
Thank you for having me. Listen, you too. I was like, why would I not be here?
This is great. This is great. And we can do this all day, but let's just make sure we reconnect. I didn't realize that the site was that early, so I'm gonna be one of the first people with the hoodie.
Yeah, buddy.
Right,
nobody had a hoodie. Nobody has a hoodie yet, I don't think. Like, I have a person that just ordered one. You were the first one with a hoodie. How about that? Now the t-shirts, they rocking. The t-shirts, I've seen the t-shirts end up in concerts and everything. I'm like, oh, that's my shirt.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so now I'm looking forward to it. Definitely I'll be posting and sharing all that once I get it. So on behalf of Kisha, I am Baxter E. I just want to let everyone know who is listening to this or watching this that you are all capable. You just need to make sure that you embrace your own frequency.
Yeah.
And so, until next time, everyone, peace.
I love it. Bye-bye.
Welcome into his brain. Welcome into his frequency. Enter at your own risk. Come be at peace with me.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. Please subscribe, share, and also hit that notification button as well. Thank you so much.
Financial literacy to authentic Black history. This real rap.